start the recording as well. Right. So I believe we are all here. Welcome to another year, and sorry for this slight delay getting everyone onboarded. This is a kind of a special year because this is the 11th year, and one thing that's important really is that this is what is in the center is the students' career development, starting their translation careers and using this period to form a mindset, make connections, get the real flavor of the industry, how it works, forming teams together. So this is the kind of environment that we'd like everyone to feel part of. And my sincere thanks goes to all lecturers for putting extra time aside for marking the exams, organizing everything while they are so busy, I know. So I really appreciate that. Now, without further ado, this year, we'd like to get started with someone special to me. That is Alex here. Now, the story of Alex is that she's our first intern from Essex University. And that's how we got started working with Essex University, because Alex made that connection for us. And that was over 10 years ago. Alex, without further ado, tell us about that time. You know, take us back to those 10 years.
Definitely.
And tell us about it.
Thank you. It's 4 o'clock. Where am I at as well? Because I'm in Jordan, so I'm talking to you from Jordan. So yeah, take us back. I mean, okay. So I remember the first time I actually entered the TTC doors. I think it was Abi that actually opened. So the first time I got declined, actually, Abi was like, "No, we don't need anyone." And then the second time, I actually came for an internship and not a job. And Abi and yourself interviewed me and accepted me as an intern. It was amazing. The internship at TTC was amazing because it's fully hands-on. So you get to do some quality check, you get to do some translation, you get to do some interpreting, some interpreting gigs.
Hello.
Some interpreting gigs, yeah. It's the time for children to come back from school, so sorry. Interpreting gigs. What else did we do? We did a lot of videos, also media. So you get to really touch on pretty much every single skill and decide what you really want to do later on.
Can I interrupt? Yeah. Can I interrupt you 1 second? What you said earlier, I think is the key to success for students, for anyone trying to make connection. I remember distinctly. Alex said, "Well, I applied before, no one has replied. Now, why? You know, I want to do internship. I'm studying master's degree at Essex University. Why don't you let me have an internship here?" Her approach was impressive. That's how, because like most companies, we get a lot of applications. So Alex made the difference. So that was like credit to you, Alex, that you actually insisted. You didn't just walk away. You insisted on that. Sorry, continue. I thought I'd make this point.
Thank you. No, you're absolutely right. And, maybe first time is no, but the second or the third time might be yes, because people are also looking at how keen you are. And I think especially employers, how keen and how dedicated you are. Being yourself, being authentic is very important because people can see right through you, especially people that have been in the industry for such a long time. And TTC is very special because they do take care of their staff, and they also do so many things. They also do so many things. Sorry. They also do so many things outside, like, charity, where everybody takes part in them. So I really felt part of the team. So I think, and TTC also gives you the opportunity to grow with them. So I could, how long did I stay with TTC? Was it 1 year, 1.5 years?
About a year and a half, I
Yeah.
believe. Yes.
So, I mean, it was my choice to leave, because obviously I wanted to change of career, but TTC helped me, in a sense, with translation, and also helped my sister, who now is doing quality checking for Paramount. So CTTC
Wow.
helped the whole family in
Excellent.
the end. So yeah,
Excellent.
so very, very useful experience that I cherish, and I will cherish forever. So I will definitely advise everyone to have a go, and to definitely fight for position at TTC. And Abby also is a great source of knowledge. She's been with TTC since the beginning. We've seen, and she's been a great help to me as well as everybody else within the company. So thank you. I have to thank you for that. Thank you very much, Alex.
You're welcome, Alex. Thank you very much for joining, and I'm grateful to you because of your your initiative, we got this thing going. So guys, when you're thinking of your next step, be courageous, be insistent,
definitely.
like Alex say, that you want this. Yeah. So Alex, thank you very much indeed. We have a
Thank you very much.
fully packed agenda. So if you don't mind, I'll move on. But
Thank you very much. Bye, everyone, and good luck with the competition.
Grateful for
Thank
you for joining us and sharing your
Bye-bye.
experience.
Nice to see you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And you, absolutely. Thank you. This year is also a special year for us because one of our best clients agreed to come on board as a sponsor company. We got Andy Ward patiently waiting there. Hello, Andy.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. And that's very important for us because this gives us an opportunity to celebrate their success. It is a very successful company, and we are honored to be part of their success. So this platform is great because we've got students, we've got our client that is an opportunity to celebrate their success as well as do something for the industry. This is a great opportunity for us to hear directly from Andy as the client, because as translators, understanding clients' requirement is key to your success. But isn't that the case for solving most problems? Understanding the question is like half solving the problem. So be grateful for Andy to come on board and tell us what his company's expectations are. And Andy, thank you very much for coming on board. I know how busy you are. So thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Yeah. Thank you, Levent. And I'd just like to say as well, working with Levent and the team and Abi, I wouldn't want to work with any other translators, to be fair. They really do look after me and my team and the work that needs doing. So yeah, please, thank you for doing that. And I work very, very closely with Abi. But yeah, so who are Pico Technology? Well, Pico Technology are the world's #1 manufacturer of USB oscilloscopes and other electronic devices. The company was founded back in 1991, so well established, 32 years, and for that whole 32 years, and for a majority of that, we've worked with Abi and Levent at TTC. We are, like I say, one of the world's leading manufacturers of PC-based oscilloscopes, and our product is all over the world. You know, we offer a wide range of automotive diagnostic equipments, etc. And we work with some of the biggest manufacturers in the world. So your Volkswagens, your BMWs, you know, and all the big vehicle manufacturers. So being worldwide, it's absolutely crucial that you know, our translations are important to us, and the reasons for that is we need to reach a wider audience. Our documentations that need translating, so we TTC, thankfully, excellent at, you know, at what they do. They translate our documents, our software, our support materials into 30+ different languages, which is no mean feat. They absolutely understand who we are and what we do from an electronics point of view. And they're also very good at asking and receiving feedback around all the translations that they do for us. But as you can imagine, because our documents are safety related, it's absolutely key that they're translated correctly, going into the countries and the markets that they go into. So it's absolutely crucial that they are accurate, which they need to be, because if you're going to be using our equipment, then we need to make sure that you don't do anything incorrectly to either damage yourself or damage the product through misuse. So the translations of those documents are absolutely crucial to us. And our market outside of the UK is bigger than it is in the UK. So you know, the translation side of that is so important. And also, you know, complying with regulations. The translations need to be done to make sure that we are translating our document, safety documentation, in the correct language to the countries that our products are going into. So, you know, TTC translate into 30+ languages for us. They do that very efficiently. They do that very quickly. And I do believe that has come from the relationship that we've got as two companies working together. They absolutely understand what we want, you know, and I have complete trust in everything that they do for us, and we can just hand that and go, you know, there you go, thank you very much, and I don't have to worry about that. So yeah, that is absolutely key, and I think Levent's already said it, and that's because they understand us as a company, they understand what we want, and they understand the industry that we're in. So you know, and Abi and the team absolutely, you know, smash it out of the park. So they really do a great job for us. You know, and going back again, building trust, customer satisfaction. Well, because of the relationship we've got with TTC, enables us to build trust and customer satisfaction with our customers out in all these different countries. And if the translations weren't where they need to be, then, you know, we wouldn't be where we wouldn't be 32 years in business, and we've grown year on year as well. So you know, it's no mean feat in this day and age, that's for sure. So yeah, but yeah, so that's pretty much who we are. So an electronics company based in the UK, and we've got offices all around the world. So Japan, China, India, America, Germany. So, you know, we are a global company. And finally, I'd just like to say thank you to TTC for everything that they do for us. I think this is a great incentive as well, this challenge. So I'd just like to say, you know, good luck to everybody on here with the challenge. Yeah, it's just to say thank you very much.
Thank you, Andy. Much appreciated. That's I mean, we are grateful for our relationship, because it's very much a two-way relationship, that we pay attention to our customer sees value in us, and it makes a brilliant relationship. So
absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for that. As I said, you heard from Andy, and so one question: What year was Pico formed? Put it on the chat line. What year was Pico formed? Andy, don't tell us. You said it twice. Come on, put it on the chat line.
I'm not
What
going
year
to
was
say.
it? Okay, come on, guys, come on, be courageous, take a chance. What year was Pico formed? Okay, good. We've got some right answers coming up. Some people are,
They were listening.
right.
They were listening, Levent.
They were listening. Good. No, that's good. Now, as I said, we have a fully packed session for you. Now, we're going to hear from the lecturers from the universities, and really, that's really important because they are the ones doing all the hard work and motivation and everything. And also, we'll also hear from an experienced conference interpreter, Esra. She's patiently waiting there. She's also assistant professor of translation and interpreting. So, she's well qualified. I've seen her in action last year in Istanbul, so that was also experience. We'll hear from Atalay Hoca from Dokuz University. We'll hear from Antonia from Essex University. We'll hear from a very experienced freelance translator, Askin. He was, people remember who joined the competition last year. Askin, everyone loves Askin. Customers love Askin. Freelance, everyone loves Askin. So you'll know why when he starts speaking. We'll hear from Chloe, who is the Essex University career consultant. We'll hear from Ege University's Merve, who is a research assistant. Unfortunately, we can't hear from Ağrı İbrahim Çeçen University because they are engaged with the examinations. However, we have someone joined, Mehmet Hoca from the university, and thank you for joining. Last but not least, we'll also hear from Max, who works for TripAdvisor. And guess what? Max was Essex University student. And also, guess what? He also took part in Translation Challenge. So we'll stay till the end of the session and hear from Max's journey and how he got to where he is. So that's that will be very interesting. So moving on, Esra, thank you very much. I know how busy you are. You had to make some arrangements to join us. So tell us about being a conference interpreter and doing what you do in such a way while you're smiling and everything else.
Thank you so much, Levent Bey, everyone, dear colleagues. I see familiar faces that I'm very happy to see. Everyone loves Askin indeed. We love him as well as a family. I see Atalay Bey, I see Şeyda Ciment, everyone, the students, dear colleagues. So thank you so much, Levent Bey. Once again, you have been very kind to arrange this according to my very always busy schedule. So thank you so much as well. Well, I have prepared a speech, but as a conference interpreter, I'm going to do something very ironic, and I'm going to deviate from my speech, which we hate as conference interpreters, because, you do all your prep-up work and everything according to that very specific speech, and all of a sudden the speaker would like to go off script, but, I'm going to do my best. So I have 10 minutes as a person who is very talkative, who loves to talk, and who is talking for a living, actually. It's rather limited, but I'll do my best. So I am, as Levent Bey said, I am working as a conference interpreter with the languages of Turkish and English. And I'm also, at the same time, I have been a part of academia, Istanbul University, English Department of Translation and Interpreting Studies, where I'm still teaching as assistant professor. So, which gives me the opportunity to say that I have seen the best and worst of both worlds, to tell you the truth. And indeed, there are bests and worsts of both worlds. And in this very limited time, perhaps I would like to share some, very, very brief insights and tips which have shaped my journey as a conference interpreter. And I'm sure our young colleagues today and students today have their minds something, you know, as to how to become proficient interpreters. Well, first of all, as conference interpreters, we are indeed, and as translators, we are custodians of communication and language. I've always loved that expression. And we are here to break down the linguistic barriers. And we are here to foster understanding across different nationalities, diverse cultures, or different languages. So the language we're speaking, we're using as our tools, but they're not mere tools. They're actually tools of culture, like conduits of culture. We don't love that expression very much, like conduit in interpreting, but still, you know, they're very instrumental in terms of culture, history, and shared human experience. And that's the number one thing I would kindly urge you to work on, very much work on, and foster your proficiency in both languages, or how many languages you plan to work with or use in your own practice. Cherish them, nurture them. So be great, of course, you know, needless to say, be impeccable in your language, a language, but try to be as good as close to a native proficiency in your B languages and hopefully C languages. And that's another tip. Please not only stick with your B language, which is like, for example, Turkish and English, but of course, and at all times, and of course, probably you're taking this as elective classes in your universities, please have a third language, like a C language, and especially in the upcoming times with the, in the era of AI and everything, deep learning, I think it's going to be a sine qua non, like a prerequisite. And as conference interpreters and as translators, everything I say for conference interpreters, I think is valid for translators as well. We need to be lifelong learners. And I'm not saying this just for the sake of saying this. I really believe in this because I have been doing this since 2004. And still, I have been doing quite a lot of prep-up work before the assignment. Actually, tonight, I'm going to set up like 2 hours of time so that I can be prepared for my conference tomorrow. It doesn't matter how long you have been doing this or, you know, what kind of a great terminology you have compiled. Still, you need to have that amateurish spirit, but act as a professional and act like a professional. Because the more knowledge you accumulate, because everything is changing, the world is changing, the languages are changing, the terminologies are changing, the more equipped you can become so that you can navigate smoothly in this complex domain of whatever you are supposed to be interpreting. Resilience, that brings me to the topic of resilience. We need to be resilient as conference interpreters. And I'm not saying this in the form of like, you know, like not in the sense of Shawshank Redemption. You know, we need to be resilient, but, you know, we should not be forgetting our human side as well, because at the end of the day, we're human beings and it's okay. We can have a bad day. And I always have loved the expression, you know, as a conference interpreter, as a translator, as professionals, we have good gigs, great days of performance, but sometimes we're not that good. It's okay. Just at the end of the day, we should be learning from that. It's a bad day. It's not a bad life. I've always loved that expression. So just learn from that and, you know, sleep, cry if you have to cry over it, and then just learn from that and move on. And of course, analyze and do sort of an autopsy, a postmortem, why it went wrong or what are the things that you did good, but also maybe which could be improved further. This is what I always tell my students. When you're doing, at the end of every interpreting session or interpreting class or practice, we always do sort of a take stock session. Like, what did I do well? I think that's very important because when we do sort of an analysis or evaluation or self-review, we tend to always focus on the negative. Well, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I failed at this, I was terrible at this, but it wasn't all completely wrong or by 100%. So you did something good, and please give yourself credit for what you have done positive, but where are the things that you could improve? You can increase your speed, you can increase or you can reduce the omissions or the gaps or the gap fillers, or perhaps polish your terminology, whatever. You know that, and your instructor knows that. Work on them, refine your skills, and your capabilities are going to expand in that direction. Cultural sensitivity and keeping up yourself with the pace of the ever-increasing pace of the world is very important, because it's not merely translating or interpreting words. You know, that word-for-word paradigm is long gone. It's all about capturing the nuances and the cultural subtleties that we are working with. And I think these are what makes the communication effective at the end of the day. So we need to, of course, strive to understand the languages which we interpret, but also the cultural context, which is the overarching structure in which, you know, these languages operate. So if we are also skillful as conference interpreters and translators to navigate the cultural intricacies, so I think that is going to set us apart as interpreters, as language professionals. And in that way, we could transcend language and we could facilitate a deeper and more meaningful exchange of ideas or whatever people are sharing over there. And network is very important, building a network of support, both in professional, and I've always believed that in my personal life as well. It is very crucial and equally crucial as the components which I have just listed, because it takes two to interpret. I've always say that, I always use that expression. It takes two to interpret, at least two, by the way, because if it's a multilingual conference, you need to use the relay interpreting. And so it's not a solitary endeavor. You have to surround yourselves with the right mentors, with the right professionals, with the right colleagues and fellow students who are actually very important, very instrumental in your journey. They will inspire you, they will challenge you, and engage in conversations. I think this platform is a great example of how we could do that, because you're here surrounded with not only the academics, but also great professionals, great supporters of language professionals, such as Pico Technology. Andy, thank you so much for doing this for us. It's rather rare that we have the support of the industry, and we're very grateful for that. And always constructive feedback is very important. We still do that with my booth mates, with whomever I get into the booth. At the end of every practice, we sit down and we do sort of an evaluation, both self-review and the review for the colleague. Because together we can create a community which fosters growth and professionalism. So in conclusion, actually what we're doing is not a profession. Well, of course, it's a very important profession, translation and interpreting, but it is beyond that. It is a pursuit, it's something, it's an activity which is indeed literally connecting the world. And there might be some challenges. There are going to be challenges. I'm not going to lie to you, but try to embrace for that. Again, another, I know I sound like a very cliche and a very boomer and motivational speaker, but I think they're important. But feel the fear and do it anyway. I love that. I've always done that throughout my life, and still I'm doing that. I'm just really, I'm feeling the fear so much some days, but I'm like, okay, what the heck, I can do this. I have done this, so I can do this as well. So celebrate the victories and always strive for excellence. It's a remarkable journey, and the world, someone somewhere in the world, there are people who need and who are asking for your contributions to the translation and interpreting. Thank you so much. I hope that was useful. Thank you.
Thank you, Esra. Thank you for sharing your experiences. Thank you very much for that, and thank you for taking that time. And now, guys, I noticed that many people not turning on their cameras. For you to engage, it is really important. So if you have a camera, unless there's a problem, please turn on your cameras, because that will help us to engage with each other. Now, next one is we're going to hear from Atalay Gunduz, who is the associate professor of Dokuz Eylul University. Dokuz Eylul is one of the biggest universities in Turkey, based in Izmir. I had the pleasure of meeting Atalay Hoca number of times myself. And let's hear from you, Atalay.
Hello, Levent. Hello, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be taking part in this competition. I've been at Dokuz University for 9 years now, and I don't remember a year that I missed the competition and the events. So thank you very much, Levent, for organizing such a great competition. It's always been a great inspiration for us. We are from the academy, so we are usually very focused on our courses and scholarship, but it's a great opportunity for us to see what the industry is doing and what you are dealing with. So thank you for that, and thank you Pico Industries, thank you Andy, and it was a pleasure to listen to Alex from Jordan. Thank you very much, Alex. Esra Hocam, I am with your energy and your speech. Thank you very much for that. We have now 7 groups from our university this year competing, and they are very excited to be a part of this competition. We look forward to see who will win this year. That's what I was going to say. Thank you very much, and good luck, everyone.
Thank you Atalay. Also, we also have Şeyda Eraslan from Dokuz Eylül as well.
Thank you. Hi everyone.
Whenever I visited the university to talk to students, and I always felt at home there. You know, the hospitality, the sincerity is unbelievable. So I think you have some very lucky students there. Next one is from Antonia from Essex University, and Antonia has been part of the competition from the start, and this year she's coordinating, managing the whole process. Antonia, let's hear from you.
Hello, can you see me and hear me clearly?
We can see you like a very sort of small
Stick person.
but we can hear you very clearly.
Okay, thank you. So I'm Antonia. I'm a lecturer on the Chinese translation interpreting program. This is my first year taking over translation challenge from Ignacia, so very big shoes to fill. But I've been participating in it for many years. So we did things like cream tea, Turkish chickpea, Turkish delight, text promotions, and also more technical things like plumbing and air ventilation systems and so on. So it's been a very it's a wonderful journey, because every time it's like revealing something. Now this year, what are we going to do? So I really like that element, and instantly raised my hand when Ignacia said, "Oh, I have too much to do," and I said, let me do this. So I'm not very good with doing speeches. I've been doing translation my whole life. So I checked online how to do a speech, and it said, say thank you and look back into the past and look forward into the future. So looking into the past, I was checking. So this is the 11th year. What happened from the very beginning? And I checked the major events, 2013, and it was like death of Nelson Mandela, Snowden leaks. And I thought, oh no, I can't start with that. Let's search something closer. And I searched years before, just a few years back, was earthquakes, wars, conflicts, everything. But you know what? I didn't know how to start this speech, but something was in my heart during my research. Not my research, my search. And that was how lucky. I felt that sometimes we forget how lucky we are to be able to study at the university in this peace, and how lucky we are to have industry leaders like Levent organizing this for us. How lucky that we have an absolutely understanding client who values the quality of translation, and how lucky we have volunteer assistants who are doing everything for us. And what we are concentrating now is only the process of seeing this project from start to finish. This is heaven. And when I just went into the market, I wish that I had an experience like that, but now you do. So looking forward into the future. Good luck, everyone. And we have, let me know if I missed the language. So we have German, French, Portuguese, Chinese, Spanish, Arabic, and Italian, right? Wow. So you can participate in any of these languages and just report to your lecturer how your team is formed. So that's all. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Antonia. You said you didn't do speeches, but that speech was amazing. And
thank you.
No, thank you. That was really great. And talking about Essex University, we have Lexa here, also from the Spanish lecturer, and Lexa has been doing the challenge, helping the students right from the start. Lexa, isn't it? You've been involved right from the beginning. That's the amazing part. The lecturers really spend a lot of time on this, but when it comes to giving credit, they give us all the credit. Really, that credit goes to you guys, because you're so busy and you're still doing this for your students. So it's remarkable. Next is we have Askin Samuray Bayraktaoroglu. He's an experienced Turkish translator. He's a translator, but in true sense of the something that Esra used, like a communicator. He enables communication, and I mean communication because the quality of translators comes into play when there's a problem. When everything works well, that's great. Everyone can do the job. When something goes wrong, there's a little bit of challenge. The quality of this resource becomes so critical, and in many places, Askin is one person that we can always go and ask for help, and he's always there to help us. So
that's
Askin,
your trust.
thank you for joining another year.
Shall I start speaking?
Yes, please, Askin. Thank you very much.
First of all, to everybody, welcome. And first of all, I have to say this. I rarely use English as a speaking language. I very rarely speak English. So please excuse all my errors. And I prepared the speech, I prepared the text, and I will read it. But first of all, sorry for my pronunciation. And maybe this will help my young colleagues think that if this man has received so much trust from such a great client, then all of us can do something in this business. So
you're too modest. Like.
No. I am realist. This is the first time I've been speaking in English in the last 6 months or something like that, really. So I only use English to translate back and forth with Turkish. So I will read my speech now. First of all, thank you very much for your wonderful words, Levent Bey. Love is my fuel, and I can fly to the moon after the speech. Everyone can hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay. So, I am Askin Samuray Bayraktaoroglu. I am 45 years old. I live in Kadıköy, Istanbul with my wife and 2 cats. And I have been earning my living as an international freelance translator for the last 15 years. Today, in the light of my own career journey, I will briefly talk about how the world has changed in the last 25 years and what we can expect in the next 25 years. In 1996, when I was going to take the university exam, I had a serious argument with my parents. They wanted me to go into one of the popular subjects like business management, journalism, or law. But I wanted to have a classic profession that was simpler, not easier, but simpler, and that I could work from anywhere in the world. That was the year 1996, the first times of internet in Turkey. So I had my eye on a job as a translator. But I had to make a long speech to my parents to convince them. In brief, I had two strong arguments. Thanks to the internet, first of all, thanks to the internet and laptops, I would be able to work from anywhere in the world at any time I want. Two, even if I do not work as a translator, I would gain a language knowledge that will allow me to work in many different sectors. And three, I believe that the hardest and most tiring job in the world is dealing with other people. But as a translator, I would not deal with people, but only with words and their meanings. And exactly 6 years after from that time, in 2002, I graduated from Bilkent University's English and French Translation and Interpretation Department. However, I did not immediately start working as a full-time interpreter, full-time translator back then, because my interest had shifted to media sector during my studies at university. As a matter of fact, I worked in different fields such as advertisement, copywriting, music production, journalism, and publishing until 2007. Finally, in that year, I decided that the media sector was not any good for me, and I decided to return to my original profession as a linguist. Soon after that, I started working as a project manager, localization project manager at Avrasya Localization, which was one of the largest localization companies in Turkey at that time. Over the next 1 year, I gained a wealth of experience from translation and localization software to project management and marketing. And I soon realized that I could earn a lot more money and be freer just by working as an international freelance translator. Just the same way I tried to convince my parents 12 years before that. In the meanwhile, the current situation in the world and Turkey was also supporting my predictions. One, Turkey was on its way to the European Union. Even though it was not going to become a full member, it was following a path in line with the EU. Therefore, it was an attractive country for qualified international investment, and more investment meant more translation jobs. Two, the rise of PayPal and similar international remittance services made international translation more attractive. And three, new global social media channels such as Facebook and Twitter were opening new horizons in terms of both business opportunities and content. The future was global, and more globalization meant more localization work. So towards the end of 2008, I left Avrasya and started to work as a freelance translator. Among my first customers were Avrasya, as well as a few Turkish companies that found me through families and friends and family members. But my goal was definitely to open up to the world. Eventually, thanks to the professional account I had created on Pros, I started to gain my first foreign customers. One of them, Russia-based Abi, later became the founder of SmartCat, which is one of today's largest online translation and project management platforms. Another client from China, EC Innovations, has since become one of the largest localization companies in the world. At the same time, TTC, which I joined on the recommendation of a young freelance translator I used to work in Avrasya, soon became and still is my favorite client. To summarize, today I still work with about a dozen regular clients from Australia to South Korea, from China to United Kingdom, and I still share my CV with new clients whenever I have the opportunity. Moreover, AI chatbots and translation software such as DeepL allow me to do my job faster and more precisely. I love my profession more than ever, and I'm grateful that it has proved me right in my predictions when I was back in high school. So here I am. But what happens next? Where do we go from here, or where will the world take us from here? Before we can say anything clearer about this, we need to analyze where the translators are from different perspectives. Let's first take a pessimistic point of view. One, currently, Turkey is a country that has moved away from the European Union. It has serious legal and economic problems and is unable to receive attract qualified foreign investment. 2, although international money transfer platforms are being used at full speed in the world, they have stopped serving to Turkey. And 3, artificial intelligence and translation engines are developing rapidly and are perceived as if they will kill translation as a profession. And now let's look at what the optimists say. 1, historically, Turkey has always had a positive direction, even though it has gone through difficult processes similar to today's from time to time. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, like the march of a Mehter team, like back in time of Janissaries. Therefore, when this backward step is completed, it will go 2 steps forward. 2, international money transfer platforms will return one day, even if they are not in service today. Until then, banks also function properly, at least for higher volume transfers. So if you have good clients, you can still work with banks internationally. And 3, when the typewriter was invented, the clerks did not become unemployed. Or when the camera was invented, the painters did not become unemployed. Artificial intelligence and translation engines can greatly facilitate translation, but they will not and cannot kill it as a profession. They can also open up wider professional horizons for creative translators, such as new content creation. Well, after that, what do I think in the light of all my professional experience and my knowledge of history? Again, let me summarize in 3 points. In real life, things never go as badly as pessimists believe and never as good as optimists believe. In the end, every outcome is personal and each individual's fate is determined by their own perseverance and abilities. Globalization may not work for a period of time, but it will have to work again in order to prevent the world from self-destruction. And if the world has decided to destroy itself, there is nothing to be done anyway. To put it more precisely, what needs to be done in such a situation will be of a much more massive nature, far beyond your professional requirements. But if the world is to continue on its way in law and prosperity, the only way for this to happen is through equitable globalization. And 3, artificial intelligence and translation engines will not leave everyone unemployed, but only those who cannot adapt to them. On the other hand, in an environment where everyone is investing in artificial intelligence, those who invest in themselves, those who invest in their own qualities to maximize the benefit of artificial intelligence will win. So in the light of all this, what can I tell to my young colleagues? Above all, do not seek success or happiness in technical or numerical details, neither in your profession nor in your personal life. See yourself as a communicator before a translator, and focus not only on words, but more on understanding and communicating the context, the real meaning. Words are of course important, but never forget that it is the context that determines their meaning. And always try to understand the context of the world, the age, the technological and social developments that shape the world. As members of Generation Z, you are obviously facing very serious criticisms, but it is also true that you are facing more serious problems than the generations that came before you. Just remember that whatever your generation, it is your individual perseverance, your individual abilities, your individual character that will make you successful and happy. And always know the algorithms, but don't let algorithms shape your perception of the world or your perceptions of self. Closely follow the current realities of the world from different perspectives and write your own algorithm. Draw your own roadmap. Always be kind, be original, and be unique. Once you have done this, a degree in translation and interpretation will be enough to open all the doors to a brighter future for you. No matter if you see yourself as a translator, a communicator, or a content producer. Just don't stop, don't despair, and keep on moving no matter what. Always keep on searching, always make new contacts, and always do your best to learn new things. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Askin. Thank you for your wise words.
Sorry, I know it was very tiring. Sorry if I was fast, but you can see how nervous I am.
No. You don't need. You have no reason to be nervous. And thank you for your wise words. It was well noted. Now, guys, we've got next Chloe Lambert from Essex University, and she's a career consultant. So, Chloe, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you see me?
Hi, Chloe. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, and just like to say how inspiring it is to hear so many past students talking and these individual career journeys. As a careers consultant, I found it really fascinating. So thank you for inviting me to come along. Yes, some of you may recognise me. My name is Chloe Lambert. I'm a careers consultant for social sciences and languages and linguistics department here at the University of Essex. I deliver career development learning lectures, also do one-to-one appointments as well. And I just wanted to have a quick chat with you guys for 10 minutes, just to focus your minds a little bit on your employability. So I've got a presentation. I will share my screen if that's okay with everyone in the room. Okay, can everyone see that okay? Perfect, great. Okay, see a lot of nods. Okay, so yeah, I just want you to think about this challenge and how it's going to help your employability going forward. So I wanted to, first of all, talk about self-reflection. And so this is something which we strongly recommend if you're embarking on any sort of career development learning or work-based activity. So as you're going through this challenge as students, I want you to really focus on the responsibilities you held during this challenge and ask yourself 2 questions. I want you to think about, what skills did I demonstrate? So what skills are you showing, are you demonstrating, and where do your strengths really lie? I think that's really important to be aware of for your own self-development and your own self-awareness. But then contrary to that, I want you to start thinking about, well, what skills could I strengthen? You know, where have there been gaps in my knowledge or gaps in my skills? And perhaps after this challenge, think, okay, well, how can I plug that skills or that knowledge gap? And something which I really strongly recommend is just keeping a record or a diary, tracking your achievements. And during this challenge, just, you know, spend 10 minutes at the end of every day or the end of every activity, just asking yourself, what did I do? What did I do well? And what would I do differently if I could go back and do this again? So if you can keep a record of that, it's going to help in your future job applications, or if you're going for future studies, if you've got it there written down, that's certainly going to help you. So I wanted to talk about self-reflection, but I also wanted to talk about others' observations as well, because, you know, you're going to be working with other people. And I think other people can have really interesting insights into our behaviours and skills. So, for example, I remember working with a woman who was so organised, had everything planned out and detail orientated. And it wasn't until others around her started pointing this out that she had a far deeper understanding of one of her strengths of being organisation and detail orientated. So don't be afraid to ask for feedback as you go through this challenge as well. And also don't be afraid of criticism. So I'm sure if I asked a lot of people in the room here about their biggest learning experiences, it was probably in those uncomfortable moments when maybe people have given us constructive criticism, but that's in the moments where we grow and develop as well. So as well as that self-reflection, I really recommend that you ask others for feedback as well. And why am I talking about this? Well, it's so important for your personal career development, your self-awareness, but also there is going to come a point when you're going to be applying for work, perhaps applying for other studies, going for interview, and people are going to be asking you, okay, when have you demonstrated these skills? So if you've already got it written down, if you've got your reflections somewhere that you can access, your future self will definitely help you, will definitely thank you. So I wanted to start by just flagging some skills that you may be developing during your time on this project. Now, these skills, they're quite varied, but these are actually the most requested skills that we're seeing from graduate employers. Some of those skills up on the slide you may think I already have. Some you may think, well, I haven't got, but hopefully I'm going to develop it during this challenge. But just if you need any prompts to help you in your self-reflection, then hopefully some of these skills you can, by the end of this challenge, you can form some really good stories around demonstrating some of these skills. And then I just want to move on to how you can demonstrate these skills. So you've done an activity or you've done something in this challenge that you really want to document and you think this would be a great story to tell a future employer. How can you structure a really good answer? And one method that we strongly recommend and employers really recommend their candidates to use is the STAR technique. So it's broken down into 4 sections: situation, setting up where you were, what position did you have, and then the task. So what was your responsibility? What was the challenge that you had? What was the task that you were given? And what did you have to achieve through doing that task? And then action. So we want you to write about how did you approach this task? What skills did you use, most importantly? So was it communication? Was it written, verbal communication? Was it influencing? Were you leading your team? So what skills were you demonstrating? And then R being the result. And surprisingly, a lot of people forget to end their story with a result. We want to know what happened. So was your team a much stronger team because of your leadership skills? Were things less likely to be misinterpreted because you were communicating clearly? So what was the result of your hard work and of your skills that you have shown? So that's what I wanted to talk about, and just to remind you as you're going through this really exciting experience to just always have in mind, how is it going to help me, and how's it going to help me in my future job or further educational applications? And before I finish, I just wanted to remind you all that you all have access to career support whilst you're here at the University of Essex, and also after you graduate as well. So we do a number of appointments. So say after this challenge, you think, well, I demonstrated these skills, I really want to explore careers using that. Please book a careers guidance appointment. We can explore that with you. We also have application support, so we can support you with any interviews or any applications as well. And we also can look over your CV, as I know one speaker said that they've carried this CV with them through life. So please start by coming to us and we can have a quick look over it as well. Our service is accessible in many different ways. Our appointments are both face-to-face and online, but you can also drop by and see us in the Silberad Centre, which I think is the building on the picture behind me here. So our career staff are there every day, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. Please drop by if you have any careers related questions. We're always here to help and support you. And also we're accessible by email, live chat, and please give us a follow on LinkedIn. We have lots of opportunities we post on there as well. So I think I'll stop sharing my screen now and just thank you very much. And I hope everything goes well and good luck on this challenge.
Thank you, Chloe. It's clear that Essex students has got a very valuable support there from you. So thank you for joining and sharing your insights. Now let's hear from Abi Hatter, TTC Translation Managing Director. Abi, are you there?
Yes, I'm Levent. Yeah, can you see me now? My video wasn't working earlier, but
yes, we can see you.
Good. Well, we're really excited at TTC to be doing the 11th year of the Translation Challenge. And it's incredible to see how it's evolved, because I was involved in day one, year one, and the difference now is incredible. And it's exciting to think about, what comes in the next few years as well. And people often ask us, why do we what keeps us doing the translation challenge every year? And I kind of had to think about that, and it's a number of different things. It's seeing the enthusiasm from all the students we have every year. Well, now in the last 5 years, we have 100 students at least every year participating, which is fantastic. And it's the support we have from our translators. We just heard from Askin, who's one of our translators, and the support from our clients. The fact that Pico are happy to, take part in this and sponsor the event is fantastic. So it's getting everyone involved, from the colleagues at TTC, our suppliers, our clients. It's fantastic to actually all come together and do something for your future generation of translators. And it's also we heard earlier from Alex, and we'll hear in a short while from Max, seeing participants from previous translation challenges go on and have a very successful careers, and hearing how TTC and translation challenge has played it might even be a small part, but a small part in getting to where they are now, which is fantastic. And actually, we do have interest outside of the universities that take part. We actually have people approach us, teams of experienced translators, saying, can we join this year's translation challenge? And we have to say no at the moment, but maybe Levent, it will be something coming up. We can expand it out to more people. And also, it's great to celebrate our client successes. We don't often do that. We focus on the next project and the next project, but to be able to celebrate Pico's technology success today and throughout the challenge is fantastic to be able to do that. I know I would say this challenge isn't actually about translation. It might sound a bit crazy to say that, but it's actually about what you do throughout the whole process to get to that translation at the end. Okay, we want a great translation at the end of it, but you won't get that great translation if throughout that whole process you're not taking into certain considerations, such as working as a team, working with the reviser, the finalizer, working with the client for feedback. A few people have mentioned feedback. Andy mentioned feedback. He said we're great translators. We wouldn't want to work with anyone else. However, it's because we understand their feedback. We take their feedback on board. So throughout this translation challenge, it will be challenging to listen to someone else say that translation is not correct. You've got to change it to this. What if you disagree with that? How are you going to approach that? How are you going to decide the final version you're going to use? So it's about all the stages that you do in order to get that perfect translation at the end. So we're really looking forward to seeing the final results and being able to pass those on to Pico to be able to use, so they can publish them, they can print them, they can put them on their websites. And we can't wait to see the final result. So good luck to everyone.
Thank you, Abi. I share your comments, and the success is very much will depend on how good the team is collaborating, because it's not about a particular member doing a brilliant job. It is the team doing the brilliant job. So thank you for highlighting those facts. Now, next one is Ege University's research assistant, Merve Kurt. Merve, are you there? I saw you.
I'm here. Yes.
Yeah. Let's hear from you, Merve. I know you're working very hard at the background. You've got 92 students taking
92
part.
students, yes, and
Wow.
23 groups.
Wow.
We are a bit crowded this year, so I can say that on behalf of Ege University, we are very excited. And I'm also a former participant of this challenge. In my senior year, I participated the challenge, and I find this experience very helpful. I believe that the students will benefit greatly, because it makes you realize what the industry expects from you, and it's a real life situation, so you can put your skills into practice through this challenge. And I mean, yes, we are a bit crowded and very motivated, and I would like to say good luck to all the teams, all the universities, and every student. And thank you for organizing this challenge, Mr. Yildizgoren.
Thank you. I say it's a pleasure for us. Now, one thing I need to mention is that we haven't talked about the particulars of the source text, how it is going to be translated or how it should be translated. One thing I can tell you that we try to make it as close to reality as possible. So, in other words, if you were outsourcing this to freelance translators, that's how we would send it. But for this, Abi made a video, so we will share this video with the universities, and any questions, of course, we can clarify. But I thought for this meeting, it's best to leave this one side so that we can actually focus on the side that is the most interesting and in regards to how we can help students to form a mindset that will make them one step closer to being employment. Now, talking about employment, I know you've been patiently waiting for Max Turner. Max, are you still there?
Hi, Levent.
There,
Yes, I'm
there.
absolutely. Yeah.
Hi
Can you
there.
hear me okay?
I can hear you. Before I let you tell us your journey, I must share this very interesting I went to an event that was in November or October last year, and I heard that there was a number of companies, and one of them was TripAdvisor. So I said, yeah, this event is worth going. You know, this TripAdvisor is there. Turn up for the meeting, and there was Max from TripAdvisor that everyone wanted to speak to him because he's representing a company. And it was amazing. It was, I think for us both, it was quite an emotional sort of meetup. And so I said to Max, please come aboard and tell us about your journey. And Max kindly accepted. So let's hear from you, Max.
Thank you very much, Levent. Yeah, so like the previous speakers, I've prepared a few words. Some of what I have to say, it really is going to touch on what you've already heard, which I think is important because it just shows that level of corroboration for what you need to be successful after having gone through a trajectory like the one that you guys are going through at the moment in terms of being language students. So yeah, I've prepared a few words, and I just wanted to open by touching on the translation challenge. So yeah, Levent, it's great to see that it's in its 11th year. Absolutely fantastic. To be honest, I was flabbergasted when you told me like it had grown and gotten as big as it had gotten. I was really impressed to hear that. So yeah, absolutely wonderful. So when I participated in this particular challenge, I participated twice. I was lucky to do it in two years, so the 4th and the 5th year of the translation challenge. At the time, I was a student at the University of Essex. We were the only participating university, and I was a student of Lexers and Yanxi's. In the 4th year, the team I was on were the winners, so that was really great to be part of. And in the 5th year, we didn't quite cut it. We didn't quite make it in the 5th year. But yeah, regardless of the outcome for all of the participating teams, in this competition, the project is great exposure to translation work experience, and it really is rooted in the real world. My experience is that these projects they mirror the type of work that really happens in the translation industry. So with that, I will move on to the next section of what I've prepared. So I was asked by Levent to talk a little bit about my own career path since I left the university, and do so in the hope of illustrating what could be out there for you guys. And when I say you guys, I'm sort of referring here to the forum of students that are on this call, which I know that is the bulk of the participants here. So yeah, I'll talk a little bit about what's happened to me since leaving university and participating in these challenges, so that you guys can see maybe what might be out there when your higher education trajectory comes to an end. So I'll do a very quick recap on my university experience. So in total, I spent 5 years at university, all the time studying languages. The first part of this was a BA in modern languages. Spanish and Portuguese, and I spent 4 years on that. It included a year abroad. And then I did a further 1 year master's degree in translation, subtitling, and interpreting between English and Spanish. I imagine that most of the students on this call are going through a similar kind of trajectory in your own language combinations. Yeah, so I imagine it's quite similar to what I did. So when this finished, I was quite bereft, to be honest, when after 5 years of being at university and being in that environment, I was quite sad when it all came to an end. But a new chapter very quickly started in my life, which obviously was my career. So pretty much straight away after I left university, I started working for a background screening company called First Advantage, and I worked there for a total of 5 years and across 4 different roles. And I'm going to speak about each of those roles and how they pertained or didn't pertain to the skills and the things that I studied at university. So in my first role, so straight out of university, straight out of my master's degree, I basically needed a job to pay bills, to be able to just sustain my life, basically. And I went straight into an entry-level customer service role. So answering the phone, responding to inbound email-based queries. The role was multilingual, so I handled queries in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. But I would say that English made up like 70% of the job. And I also had regular but very minor translation duties. So I never, like, my whole remit was never about translation. It was just a minor part of my remit in this first role. So after doing that job for a little over 1 year, I then moved into my second role at First Advantage, which was a customer service team leader. So I began managing a team of customer service representatives. And in this role, I had essentially no direct linguistic or translation-based responsibilities. It was next to none. There was about 10 to 15% of my role was overseeing a very basic translation operation, and it was, it wasn't anything like you guys are about to undertake, one of these projects where you have to do a lot of research and translate a large piece of text. It was very small pieces of text, a very small operation. And in my career since leaving university, this second role as a customer service team leader, that is the furthest I've ever been from working directly with languages. And I did that role for a little over 2 years. Okay. Then after that, I then moved into my third role with First Advantage. So the job title was Senior Software Quality Specialist. So like quite a long job title, and then sort of parentheses, language and localization. And this was my very first QA role in my career. And the primary duties were to review, test, and improve the end user experience of people using the background screening product in languages other than English. So that, and since leaving university, this third role, that was the most up close and personal that I have been in my career to actually, like doing translation work, that kind of thing. So while it wasn't in my job title, like translator or interpreter, it wasn't in my job title, it made up a very large portion of the job description of what I was employed to do. Then after that, I again moved away a little bit from languages, still involved, but my fourth role with First Advantage was lead QA specialist. So after solving a lot of the problems that the company had with the end user experience in languages other than English. There was a bit of a change around and a restructuring, and they asked me to take on the primary QA role to QA the experience in English, and just sort of at this point a lot of the localization problems have been solved, so it kind of became like a branch of my responsibilities, and English very much came to the forefront of everything that I was working on in this fourth role. So that job, I was in that job for a little over a year, and that covers all 4 roles that I did in the 5-year period when I worked for First Advantage. So then after that, I started my 5th and my current role that I'm in now. So towards the end of 2022, I began working at TripAdvisor, which, as Levent has touched on, that's how I came into contact with him again. We both were attending a session that was run by a language service provider that TripAdvisor partners with, and I met Levent at the event, and I asked if he remembered me. He absolutely didn't remember me, so I then went. Yeah,
I was ashamed.
I then went into the story of I was on the translation challenge, and yeah, we caught up at that event, and then he asked me to come and speak at this. So yeah, the TripAdvisor job. So my job title now is localization QA manager. So it's not really anything new that I haven't done before. So like at First Advantage, I did some localization, then I went on to do QA with localization as sort of like a piggyback on the 4th role. But yeah, so the role that I do now is solely focused on localization. I don't deal with the English language QA in this particular role. It's all about the end user experience in languages other than English. So yeah, that covers the trajectory of my career, and I did just want to touch on a couple of things before I move on to the end section of the words that I've prepared. I just wanted to call back to some things that were said in this phone call that I think are really important. So Esra, the professional interpreter, she mentioned embracing the fear. That is going to be a really big thing in everybody's career. There are going to be moments when you're face to face with tasks and challenges that feel very daunting, and yeah, it's about embracing that fear and knowing that you are capable of achieving the task and meeting expectations. And then I also wanted to touch on something that Chloe said earlier in the call. She mentioned the importance of being receptive to constructive feedback. And that is absolutely critical to be successful in your career. You are going to get constructive feedback in your career. You are going to fail. And it's all about receiving the feedback and improving so that you can get better. It's a continuous cycle. It's known as the continuous feedback process. So yeah, those 2 things really, really important, and I wanted to make special mention of them. That they're both critical components of something called emotional intelligence, and I would really strongly recommend that all of the students in this forum spend some time researching emotional intelligence, and sort of putting the principles of this concept into practice in your everyday day-to-day interactions and in this translation challenge, because they are it is absolutely critical for success in your career. And the best people that I've worked with in my career have had extremely high levels of emotional intelligence. Yeah, and it's just really critical for success. So yeah, I would strongly recommend researching that and adding it to your repository of knowledge and skills. So that brings me to the end section of what I have prepared. So I've spoken a lot about me in these last minutes and like what's happened in my life. I want to like use this last section to talk about you guys, the participants in this competition, the students who are full of hope and like ready to get into a career when this comes to an end. And I've set out my own career adventure, and it really has been that. It's been an adventure in the hope of demonstrating to you guys that language degrees can take you to all different kinds of places. You may finish this degree, you might end up working as a translator or an interpreter, but you also might not. You might not have that that specific job title. I've never had the job title translator or interpreter like Askin or Esra that we previously heard from, but most of my career has been spent working language adjacent, where these things were components of my job description, but weren't necessarily the whole package. So the message that I want to get across to everyone is that the language industry isn't necessarily restricted to just these job titles. And you might even find that you don't even have a language adjacent career at all, which is also absolutely fine, because all of the transferable skills that you pick up in this degree and over the course of this challenge, they're all ultimately going to prove invaluable for whichever career path you choose. And who knows, the career path sort of, if it goes anything like my career, like the career path will kind of choose you. Like you won't choose it, it will choose you. And yeah, and finally, I do just want to touch on a topic that I think will resonate in this forum. And I know that Action has also touched on this as well in his section. But if your experience as a veteran language student has been anything like mine was, you may well have been on the receiving end of some occasional negativity over the years, in terms of, so like over the years that you've invested a lot into these degrees that you've been doing. You might have heard things like the translation industry is disappearing as a result of automation, as a result of AI. The skills that you're acquiring in these degrees are becoming obsolete. I just want that, like, my parting message, I don't want you all to, I would encourage you all to never feel disheartened or defeated by this. And I'm going to deviate from what I actually had written. I'm going to use emotive language, which I'm trained not to do, really, as in your career, you move away from emotive language. But it really, in my own personal opinion, it is the biggest load of rubbish that you'll be told. That's not going to happen. Automation and AI, they are revolutionizing the language industry, but this just means that the available work is changing. It's not disappearing. So yeah, please go away from this in the knowledge that the degree you are pursuing is highly valuable, will teach you fantastic skills that are very applicable in your own careers. And you are all in the driving seat of your own careers, and embracing change is critical to any industry, not just the translation industry. So please enjoy this wonderful translation challenge. Good luck with it, have fun with it, and take in all of the valuable lessons in translation, project management, and teamwork that it has to impart, because there will always be demand for these skills. And with that, I will hand back to Levent.
Thank you, Max. Thank you for sharing your journey. Much appreciated, and I'm sure that will be very inspirational for students. And so thank you for, I know how busy you are, and you took your time and shared your journey. And it was, I tell you, when we met, it was so emotional for me that you know, here is somebody from TripAdvisor that was a translation challenge participant. So, you know, it's really, I keep talking about this a lot. So
it was certainly
family,
a good day.
family and friends know
Very
about
good.
that. And last but not least, we have Inacia joined the call. Inacia, tell us a few words.
Actually, I was in the room, but you couldn't see me, so I decided to come back to the office so I could see you online as well.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
I couldn't miss this for anything in the world.
And
love you,
did
Max.
you hear from Alex?
Yes.
Did you hear from Alex as well?
Yes. Yes. Yes. Alex was one of my BA students and then a MA student. So yeah, it was really emotional to see her on the screen after many years. She was born in Jordan and now, you know, she lived in France, in the UK, and now back to Jordan. She's a mother. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you and I, we started this like 11 years ago, and it was like, okay, let's do this and see how it goes. You know, we'll see. You know, we kind of wanted to play safe because we had no idea. And the second year said, yeah, let's do this. And then before we knew, it was like the 10th year or something. So yeah, it works. It works. I mean, that's one thing that, you know, hearing from Max as well, it works. It gives this opportunity to students to form that mindset that they are employable and that by taking certain steps, they can actually make a big difference. So they don't have to wait till they get graduated before they start looking for a job. I think that would be a colossal mistake. Looking for a job starts now, you know. So that's a tool that they can use. Well, do you want to add anything, Inacia?
Not much. I think you know, we heard lots of very, you know, knowledgeable people talking about interpreting, translation, different jobs that you know, started with translation. So this is the first big challenge, and it's, as I said, a connection between academia and the translation world business. And it's very important for our students to work together, meet deadlines, and you know, discover whether this is really for them. This is one, you know, good opportunity, and it's beyond the usual, you know, assignments that we give them. So it is a great opportunity, and every year we translate something different. This year it seems quite challenging as well, you know, because as our sponsor said, you know, that what they need to translate is also important for the safety and the functioning of the equipment. So it is a great responsibility. So yeah, not just, you know, I get a 70 or maybe a 65 or whatever, but it's, you know, what I'm translating, it really matters. It's a real piece of work. So yeah, I'm very excited to, you know, look at the students' work and advise them, and as usual. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you. Now, just to wrap up, we will provide the source file together with the explanatory video explaining, you know, what we mean, and it's essentially a bilingual file that contains the elements of translation memory, because we thought it will give a, you know, certain terminology comes from the translation memory, and we thought, me and Abi talked about it and said, okay, this is a competition, but shouldn't we give them what is on the translation memory? Because if we were to place this job with professional translators, we would not hide the translation memory from them. We would. So why don't we do the same thing for this competition? So we have a video explaining the stages, and any questions, let us know anytime. And thank you very much for everyone joining. I hope you found it useful. It was certainly inspirational and educational for me. So I look forward to you starting the competition, and we've got to find the award ceremony on the 14th of February, and we have some surprise participants to give us some ideas and their journeys and everything else. So thank you very much. And if anyone has any questions or last words, please, this is your opportunity to do it now. Otherwise, thank you very much and have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Lovely seeing everyone. Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.